Are you ready, Al?
You'll get a notice.
There we go. All right, the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. And please do not silence your electronic devices.
Okay, 350 New Karner Road. Bill?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to, I guess, do a presentation. I don't really know how this is going to be formatted. There is a
I can
share
share a document.
on my computer. I'm not sure what that does, if I can do that.
Yes, everyone will be able to see that.
Okay.
So if you want to tell me which document you want shared, I can bring it up for you, or you can bring it up.
Yeah, if you can bring up the C2 site plan. Basically, we're here to ask for an amendment to the previous approved plan. While we're bringing up that C2 site plan, basically, the Army Corps had changed their rulings. Actually, President Trump had changed the rulings on what is isolated wetlands. We had a large expanse of wetlands in the middle of this project that was determined to be isolated, which means in essence, we can get rid of those wetlands and they don't exist. So they were, what we did with the new plan is created bank parking, which we don't intend to build unless the need arises at the rear of the site, and pinch the parking together so it would read as one site and be more fluent for the operations of Volvo. That really is the only change from a plan standpoint. The site still required or still has the same variance. None of the front yard areas had changed. There's some technical differences in how we handled stormwater management. But in essence, the parking is similar. It's about 200 spots that are physically going to be constructed. I think we had 206 or so physical spots on the previously approved plan. But on this plan, we have 66 bank spots. So in essence, this site can potentially be built out to 266 spots, but we're not proposing that at this time.
Yes, I did, Sharon.
We went through the review process, and RJ had a review letter. Most of the items, and probably RJ is probably better off speaking to that. But the major item that we have an issue with that we'd like to discuss and hopefully get help from the village on is the routing of the water main. If you recall, this building really only needs a 6-inch water service. And for us to install a 6-inch water service to serve our building independently wouldn't be much of a pull. The fire department had wanted a water main or a hydrant off of a water main, which we could have accommodated relatively simply in front of the building. We had sat down with Department of Public Works, Wes Decker, and came up with the routing of the water main as we're showing it, which basically connects into the Carmack site to the northeast. One of RJ's comments was to make a better water system for the village. And since we don't have a wetland crossing issue, he suggested that we extend that water main all the way through to the Colony Plaza by the Price Chopper in the rear, which adds about 400 feet plus or minus of water main. The relief we're looking at for the commission really, or some help in that aspect is the cost. That really is the only issue that we have with regards to the water main and the routing of it. We have no problem putting in an easement. What we're looking at now, what's up is the actual filed easement. This was filed on a previously approved site plan. Then you can see it basically dog legs to the right into the CarMax site. A better solution from a village standpoint and from a town of the Latham Water District standpoint would be to interconnect this water main in the rear of the site. Again, what we're proposing, we don't have an issue doing that. The issue that we have, and maybe Eric could explain some of the actual ongoings with Volvo, but the issue that we have and the relief, I guess, that we're looking for is potentially to have some help from the village to financially support a portion of this or all of this, or maybe donate the materials for this. So that's one of the main stumbling blocks that we have now. Eric, if you can just address the commission at this point with how the Volvo actually is operating at this point.
Sure. It was my first Zoom board meeting. Actually, I don't know if I've actually had a meeting other than a family meeting on Zoom. So this is new for me, and it does seem to be an interesting time to be presenting a multi-million-dollar project to construct a Volvo dealership when business is so difficult right now. I'm sure some of you may be in the same position where we've had to furlough more than 50% of our employees because of the virus and because of the state mandates on how we practice business right now. Nevertheless, I'm still an optimist. I still believe in this project. I think it's a great project for the village and for the community, and I'm going to remain an optimist. Having said that, and I will say, of course, I've appreciated everybody's cooperation up to this point and their support of the project. But it just, to me, it just feels like a lot to digest. Just a little more to digest this particular addition, which we estimate will be around $40,000, and really just in the spirit of cooperation and spirit of working together. I'd love to see the village help with this. And I think that's really it. We started off with just trying to connect to the building, and now and the next step was, well, maybe we'll connect through CarMax, and now we're running a pipe all the way to the back of the property. So it's keeps growing, and once again, we certainly would like the support of the village to maybe help with the cost of this. A project that was, had its risk before, now has, certainly probably a little more risk with everything going on. I'm hoping everything gets back to normal, but time will tell. So I guess that's what I have to say.
All right, RJ, RJ, I know you've been involved with this. Can you go through your little bit of review? And I know you spoke with Les also. I want to go around and get everybody to speak, and I'll go around the table as we normally do. But RJ, can you start?
Absolutely. So, as Bill mentioned, we did our review letter. You know, a bunch of it was just regurgitation of permits required and things like that. There were some minor site plan questions. There it is, right there. You're throwing me off now, Cheddar, because I'm looking at it on two screens. So some minor things, site plan wise, which I don't think are really an issue having to do with the driveway, and maintenance and continued access to the pump station. And, right, the big comment was the water line. History, we did meet with the applicant. We did review the location and how the water line should be installed. Originally, the request from the village was to go to the rear. And the applicant came forward and said, well, you know, it's going to put us into a permitting situation with the Army Corps of Engineers. And Les Decker, you know, said, well, you know, fine, you know, I can understand that. And that is how we got to the CarMax. In my meeting with Les, he is very adamant about it going to the rear. It is the better connection. There's no permitting issue with it at this point. You know, in regard to assistance from the village, that's a village board issue. The planning commission can't provide any type of assistance to the applicant. They'd have to approach the village board because that's a monetary issue. Let's see. And I really that was it. I mean, it comes down to, for far as I'm concerned, as long as the commission is happy with the layout, you know, all these issues are resolvable as long as the applicant's willing to put in the water. If not, then that has to go back and have some discussion with the Department of Public Works, etc. I don't know that Les would change his mind. And that's it. At the end of my letter, I gave you a list of if the commission wants to approve this tonight, it would have to be conditioned on what I think those conditions should be, in addition to anything else that the commission, of course, would want to make.
Okay. Before I start popping around, I'm just going to have a couple of questions myself for it. The site statistics that are on the plan, are they without the banked parking?
Okay, so those site statistics that are on the plan are unfortunately exactly the same as what was approved. We had never updated them. That's on sheet C2. The plan as it shows with the bank parking has green space of about 40%, which is an increase actually from what was proposed. If the bank parking does get installed in the future, it would bring the green space to around 32%, which is less than what was approved, but still within the realm of the 20% green space required.
Okay, Peter?
Just make sure you unmute yourself because I have everyone muted.
There we go. The only questions, I just want to make sure, I don't know if there's any changes to what the chief wanted for the water main. Other than that, I'm fine.
Okay.
Chris?
Jim? Is Jim with us, Alex?
Jim's on there.
Jim, do you have any questions?
No.
Okay, Dan?
Yeah, they mentioned relief from the village. I know we can't do anything about it, but just so I can, for information, they said like parts only. How much money are they requesting to relief? Can you give me a ballpark figure, how much you're looking for?
So the entire construction cost would be from Karner Road to the Price Chopper Plaza in the rear. That entire installation would be about $40,000. The parts, materials would probably be a third of that to a half of that, so maybe $15,000 to $20,000. If we understand that, this commission doesn't have the power to spend the village's money like that, is it possible to get something from the commission, agreeing to that, this is really over and above what's needed for this project? It's a village improvement, it's a town improvement, and it really shouldn't be put entirely on the onus of the developer. Would the commission be willing to, support our request for the board to fund some of this water main?
I was just trying to get a ballpark what you're looking for.
Okay.
And like RJ said, I mean, it's up to the town board to decide that. So that's a conversation you're going to have with them, I think.
Yeah, I mean, just to add to what Bill said, certainly we love if the village funded the entire thing. I mean, it's above and beyond what we expected to spend, and the budget on it is higher than we already expected as well. But certainly, we'd appreciate any kind of support or contribution this board can give us towards getting some support from the town.
All right, Chris, that's all I got. Thank you.
Okay, Mark?
I don't have any questions, thanks.
John?
About the site plan showing a driveway or an access way back to the parking area that is currently banked. I didn't see that on the site plan that they sent to us. You put that in your letter, but I didn't hear you bring it up when you talked about your comments. Am I missing something here?
There's an existing driveway that goes from New Karner Road, leads all the way back to the village pump station. That's going to be maintained in its entirety. A portion of that is going to be expanded to be 24 feet wide. But towards the rear, where there's an existing T-turn, and we were proposing the future bank parking, we don't intend to do anything with that driveway beyond the new limits of the parking lot.
Does that cover your comment, RJ?
No, my comment was no problem with the bank parking, but the entire design should,
Oh,
the entire design should be presented on the plan, whether you build it or not, and I wasn't really clear if it was or not. I mean, it doesn't appear a 24-foot driveway is going to be extended to that bank parking. So that was what that comment was really about. I think there's just some minor additions to the plan to clarify that bank parking is built, 24-foot driveway is extended to it, and we have all that. So, but that's, like I said, it's minor because they're not building it right away, but it should be shown. So when they build it, we have a plan and we don't have to worry about it. Bill, was that clear for you? Did you understand that?
Yeah, I understand. And we can note that. There's revisions technically that we have to prepare to address the balance of those comments. So we work well with RJ to get these all taken care of.
The other question I had, Chris, is when they talked about the bank parking and said things would be reduced, I believe they got a variance for something. Will that affect the variance in the fact that they add the bank parking? Will they have to come back to get zoning board approval for any changes if they decide to introduce the bank parking?
Good question.
I believe our variance was strictly for green space in front of the building. None of those numbers have changed. What we depict on this plan is what we had depicted on the variance and also on the previously approved plan. We did not get a variance for any green space for the entire site because it wasn't necessary. The only variance we obtained was for
The 40% in front?
correct.
Okay, I have no other questions other than that.
Kenny?
I would, if the banked parking becomes a reality, or if there's going to be any changes, I think they should be coming back in front of us, because that's going to change the site plan back there, even though it's going to change a green space, but it's still underneath, it's still above its requirement, I believe. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're still conforming to the minimum green space.
Okay.
I don't think we have an issue coming back in front for another amendment if we do so choose to.
I want to interrupt. I'm not sure if I agree with you. I mean, it's been a long process, an expensive process for us, the development process. I don't want to risk not being able to build those parking spaces if we need them. Those are an important part of the improved site plan with the elimination of the wetland. And I'd like to be able to, say, given that we are still conforming with the new plan, to be able to walk away with an approval that includes that bank parking.
Chris, may I interject?
RJ?
So Kenny, the plan that you are going to approve, or well, theoretically going to approve maybe, they would not need to come back because the improvements are going to be approved as part of the site plan. They may not build them right away, but they don't need to come back when they choose to build them.
So is lighting and everything on that bank parking? Don't we have to approve lighting and as such?
You have to approve the plan, that's correct. So if they want lighting, they would have to show lighting.
On the banked parking?
Yeah, anywhere.
And is the lighting shown on the banked parking that I'm looking at?
Yeah, we have not designed, or we took off all the design parameters that we had when we had the parking on there, just for clarity, because we didn't think that it was going to be approved. But on this specific plan, we had removed those because we're banking the spaces. The previous approved site plan had the design that we already did and was reviewed that showed landscaping, showed lighting, showed the porous pavement as a stormwater management means. So that area has been designed, but it was not depicted on this new plan because we chose to show that as bank because we weren't going to build it right now.
But I guess my question is, when and if you do, say 5 years from now, 2 years from now, or next month, shouldn't there be lighting, green space, drainage, etc., shown on this plan if they're looking for approval on it? I guess, RJ, that's my question to you.
No, Kenny, you're correct that the only thing that is approved is what's on the plan. So if there's no lighting shown, there's no other improvements shown, they would have to come back and get all that.
Okay, all right. That answers my question.
Yeah.
Now, as far as, and I can appreciate the owners looking for relief of some type, but I don't believe that this is a mandated project by the village. I believe it's a voluntary business decision, so I would not be in any kind of approval or recommendation whatsoever. So that's something that I would have no part of. That's all I have.
Okay, Alex, what I'd like you to do, we're talking about the 24-foot wide roadway on the plan going back to the bank parking. Site statistics being updated with the bank parking on the number. And the revised, RJ, correct me on this if I'm wrong, but revising the water line to show it, showing it going through the site to the rear.
Correct, right, from front to rear to the county quadra line.
Yep. And so, Alex, what I'd like you to do is to poll the board. If we were to make a motion to approve, these would be the items that would have to be put on the plan before we would actually stamp the plans. But with the situation we have now with the telecommunication and so forth, if the board would like to vote on it, Alex, poll the board, see if they want to.
All right, for favor of approving, the site plan is submitted for Volvo at 350 New Karner Road, as previously discussed by Chairman Dennis. Commissioner Martin?
No.
Mayor, I'm sorry. We're not,
Sorry, RJ?
it sounds like we're voting on an approval.
We're voting on whether we want to make a motion to vote on the project.
Right, so this is informal. It just sounded very formal. It sounded like we're voting on the site plan approval based on your comments.
Yep.
I'm a little confused. Can we slow up just for a second? Trying to understand where we're at here. What are you folks voting on at this point?
What I'm asking for is I want to poll the board to see if we would like to have a motion to vote on for approval.
Okay, and what would be the reason not to vote on approval at this time?
And the reason I'm asking this is because we have 3 items that we feel have to be on the plan. And I'm asking if the board is okay with the fact that we would not stamp them until we have the revised plans with those on, but being able to vote on it for approval tonight.
Okay, and those 3 are, again, I know you mentioned them before, but I just want to make sure I know.
The 24-foot wide roadway to the bank parking, the site statistics being updated, and the water line showing going through the site.
Chris, I just have one last thing, if it's okay.
Yep.
It's not really saying it has to be on the plan, but I think the applicant needs to understand that should the board approve it as it's shown, that bank parking is basically just going to be, a parking, a paved area with no lighting or anything. So Kenny's point is a good one. Kenny's point is a good one because there's no necessarily landscaping shown, not that they would need to put it in now.
Right.
Build it. So it's just something to keep in mind.
Yeah, no, and I understand if there were changes to that bank parking, whether it's lighting or other changes, we would, my understanding, if I just heard you accurately, we'd have to come back to this. Is that correct? Understand that.
All right. John, you stated no.
Yeah, I said no because I don't see how we can say we want a plan with the line going all the way through when that hasn't been resolved between the applicant and the Board of Trustees. So it doesn't do us any good to vote on something that may or may not even come to fruition.
Yeah, but John, on your decision, that's whether the village wants to help pay for it or not should not matter what our decision is.
I don't want to see, I want to see a plan that everybody's agreed to what is going to happen. Because what happens if the applicant decides he's not going to pay the $40,000 and walks away, or
Well, then you-
I just don't feel okay. My vote is no. I don't want to put a motion forth.
Commissioner Janinski?
I'd also go with no, to put a motion forward.
Can I interrupt for just a second? We said we want support from the town in getting support for paying for this. My understanding is we can still get approval and talk to the town afterwards about that. It doesn't change our ability or our desire to go forward with the project. I'm simply asking for support, cooperation for a project, for something that's beneficial to the village and above and beyond what would be the cost of our normal project. So I don't see it in a way of well, this thing isn't settled, but I still think it's an open item that to be discussed afterwards, that can be discussed after an approval.
Chris, can I interject, please?
Yes.
So I actually agree with the applicant in this regard that the planning commission, if you so choose, approve this plan. That's the plan. How it gets paid for and who pays for it, who puts it in, really, that's not the commission's issue. The fact is, we have to go in. Otherwise, there's no building, building occupancy certificates or anything like that. So I don't know that it's that big of a hindrance, because it would be a line that would go as the village wants it. And if the applicant decides, I'm not doing it, well, then he's dead in the water.
Yeah. Alex?
By the way, you're going to sign a plan that shows it.
Alex, on the roll call, I'll be a yes in the fact that if we approve it with a water line and they don't put the water line on, they don't have any approval.
Okay. Commissioner Hart?
I'm a no.
Commissioner Judge?
I'm a yes.
Commissioner Slonkowski?
I'm a yes.
Commissioner Keegan?
I'm a yes.
Majority vote 4-3 states that they're in favor of making a motion tonight.
Okay, we have a lot of no's. Do we have anyone that would like to make a motion?
Sorry, Chris, it's my night to interject.
Yes.
Any motion should also be subject to the commission set forth in my letter dated March 19th, 2020.
Okay. So, anyone that's a yes, would you like to make a motion? Anyone can make it, but I'm assuming it would be a yes person.
Chris, Danny Judge, I haven't been taking any notes here. I mean, I've been just trying to keep up with it. So I'm having a difficult time trying to word it correctly. So if you can assist me, I'll make the motion.
Yep. Okay. One would be meeting requirements in the LaBerge letter of March 19th, 2020. Second would be a 24.
LaBerge, what was it?
March 19th, 2020.
Okay.
24-foot wide roadway installed to the bank parking, or shown on the plan to the bank parking.
Okay.
Site statistics updated. And water line continuing through the back of the site Tying to where, RJ?
Water line in the Colony Plaza. It's in the letter.
Thanks. Okay, thank you.
All right, and I'm actually having trouble with my, well, I guess, is this going to be a site plan amendment? Is that what I'm going to make the motion for? Or approve a site plan amendment, like on the agenda?
This was a change of an approved site plan, correct, RJ?
Yeah, they never completed all the conditions of the last approval, but I guess it's a site plan amendment.
Okay.
If you're not, okay, good, thanks.
All right, I got it. Thanks. I'd like to make approval, I'd like to make a motion to approve 350 Karner Road, Capital Volvo, Albany, for a site plan amendment with the following items to be resolved. Things have to be in alliance with the Labarge meeting, with the Labarge letter on March 19th, 2020. It has to have a 24-foot wide road wide embankment, road wide bank parking on the site, and site statistics will be updated. And the water line will have to be improved as in the letter stated by Labarge. I make a motion to approve that.
Alex, you can go through the board.
I just need a second, please.
I'll
Thank
second it.
Who was that?
Jim.
Jim. All right, Chairman Dennis,
Yes.
Commissioner Martin,
No.
Commissioner Chudinski,
No.
Commissioner Hart,
No.
Commissioner Judge,
Yes.
Commissioner Splonkowski,
Yes.
Commissioner Keegan,
Just, I have a very quick question. The March 19th letter, page 2 is dated March 20th, and page 3 is dated March 20th. Does that create a problem?
you're muted, RJ.
Sorry about that. Well, I like to keep it confusing, but why don't we just go with the date that's at the top of the letter?
Okay. All right, then I'm a yes.
Yeah.
All right, the majority 4-3 is to approve the application as conditioned for 350 New Karner Road.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone, and the presenters.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.
Okay, 1761 Central Avenue. The presenter can,
I can start now?
Yep.
Okay. What I'm showing on my board, I'm Rick Schrade with Geico. And I also have Dick Hoffman on another screen at his location. You should have the new site plan, which is revised and updated from the March 3rd approved site plan. The purpose of this change is to move a parking space from the corner, which is labeled A on your plan, to B on the plan, removing the old Pioneer Bank sign and creating a new parking space closer to the building. You'll see in the picture, there's a little bit of dirt around that sign. That would be eliminated. It's approximately 10 square feet at the most. And that would be replaced with 45 square feet of new green space, which would be in area A. So we're asking for approval to move the parking space from A to B and create new green space in area A.
Could you explain how it affects the areas, the green space, site statistics?
The site statistics that Dick Hoffman provided is currently the green space is 28.5% of the lot, and we're required to have 20%.
Okay, go around the board. Alex, if you want to, I guess I'll go through and do it. Peter, got questions?
No, I'm good.
Dan,
I'm good.
Jim,
I'm good.
Mark,
Good.
Kenny?
I'm good. I drove over there tonight before I came home, and they're already getting ready for it, but it's going to be looking like a nice site, so I have no issues at all.
Yep.
John, did I get you?
No.
No, I'm good with this proposed change. I just have one question.
Yes.
On the site plan that we approved, there was a tree that was coming down because it interfered with the light, and there was no decision from the applicant whether or not he was going to replace the tree, and we didn't care because we said, why replace it? It was going to grow into the light. So that was the only open item we had from the last meeting.
I think this was the light on the rear area.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I thought I mentioned there will be a new tree that will match. I'm replacing the 3 trees on the side with 4 trees. So it'll be like 1, 2, 3, 4. And then there'll be a 5th tree here. So I'll go 4 for 5 for 4.
Yeah, the only question we had was it wasn't on the site plan, and we questioned whether or not you even needed to add it since it was going to grow into the light again anyway.
I believe I requested for it to be put on, John. The 5th.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I have no problem with putting the tree back. That's what I was planning on doing anyway.
Yep. Would anybody like to make a motion?
Before you make a motion,
Yep.
hold on. Can I just make a comment? Rick, this is Vic Campanera.
Hi, Vic.
In 2 weeks, what are you going to come back with then?
I think we're done.
Just kidding.
I can assure you this is the final motion that we decided that needed to be done to make the thing fly.
I understand. And just to clarify and to make it real simple, the reason you're doing this is because you couldn't put the sign where you had proposed when you came in front of our sign review board, because it was within the easement area that the village wasn't going to allow you to put a sign in the easement area. And this is your way to accommodate it and get your sign where you want it, correct?
Correct.
All right. I have nothing further.
All right. On that comment, we're not approving, is the sign location changing?
The sign
Yes.
was already approved.
You don't have to worry
As long
about
as
it.
We don't have to worry about it?
As
All
long
right.
as
All right. That's Victor answered the question.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the site plan amendment for 1761 Central Avenue, Geico.
I'll second.
All in favor? Alex, I guess you got to run roll call.
All right, Chairman Dennis,
Yes.
Commissioner Martin,
Yes.
Commissioner Chudzinski,
Yes.
Commissioner Hart,
Yes.
Commissioner Judge,
Yes.
Commissioner Smonkowski,
Yes.
Commissioner Keegan.
Yes.
All right, all in favor to approve? Motion's passed.
thank you.
Good luck.
Okay.
Okay,
See you
thank
in
you.
a couple
See
of
you
weeks.
soon.
We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Hope not.
Okay, what I'd like to do is to go to the March 17th minutes. I particularly have no changes to it. I open it up to everyone.
I had a question. There was a set that I had sent around to everybody via email, and then the package that Alex had sent out had earlier set of meeting minutes, and then I sent out the other set that had gone for the date, and then in between the two sets, Victor had made some corrections, so I just want to make sure that the set of minutes that I had earlier reviewed and made some proposed changes to were the ones that went out in the hard packet that Alex had delivered. And I wanted to make sure that everybody had that set.
Alex, is that the,
Alex, you got my changes, right?
Yes, I did. And I
And
have
then-
John's.
They went to the wrong meeting minutes.
What do you mean they were to the wrong meeting minutes?
They were to the initial meeting minutes that Alex had sent to me for comment. I
Of
sent
what
my
date?
comments back to her.
Of
I
what
when
can
she
date?
sent
combine
them out.
both comments.
Okay, you combine them all. That's all I care about.
Okay, good.
I'm good.
anybody
So
make a
someone-
motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Go ahead, John.
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes for Tuesday, March 17th as amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Dan Judge, yes.
Jim, yes.
Mark, yes.
Yes.
Peter,
yes.
Good. Peter.
Kenny, yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Minutes have passed as amended.
Okay, do we have anything, I do have one question for you, Alex, and Mike. I guess that's where these applications come through. I know the Price Chopper Plaza is being purchased, so they would have to put an application in. How are we having people put applications before the commission?
Usually people have either emailed or called me, and I can schedule a time to meet them at Village Hall to have their applications dropped off. There are people in our DPW that have been taking packages as well. But over the last 2 weeks or so, I haven't received any.
Okay, so again, everyone would contact you directly.
That's what I'm asking, yes.
Okay. And I know that you did a zoning verification and they were very appreciative as that way you handle it, so. Anybody have anything additional?
Just a question on that whole application process. Will we accept an electronic application for the change of ownership? Rather than dropping off packages?
I would prefer an electronic anyway, but as board members would like that, I mean, it's up to you guys. If you would like a paper copy, then I would request a couple be dropped off. Otherwise, they can be charged for the copies. So it's either way.
The reason I ask is that it's just controlled, right? You get electronic, you make a copy, you have to take something from somebody else. And
Pretty much.
It's only for a couple more weeks anyway. We're gonna be out of this in 3 weeks,
Is
hopefully.
that right?
I hope so. We gotta do something. But
Is that why?
total different subject.
Is that why you got the Village of Colony behind you?
Damn right.
Very
You
good.
missed a flag.
I can change it.
Yeah, I wish I was getting shellacked in the other board meeting I was doing the virtual on. So, but it's not like I didn't forewarn my client what was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen before we went in, but he didn't listen to me.
Alex, I have no issue with you receiving this thing electronically. Unless somebody does have an objection, we'll allow it that way.
Okay.
Anyone?
So who's buying it?
Actually, I don't even know.
Who owns it now?
Can't say they can tell you that either.
So, Chris, are you telling me that the Price Chopper Plaza owned by Acadia, right?
Yeah.
That's who owns that.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, that's interesting because they've hired our firm to represent them in the Price Chopper Plaza in Colonie, which is across from the entrance on Route 9 to Latham Farms. That's interesting.
That didn't get approved, did it?
Hopefully next Tuesday. Can you believe that? Oh, he's laughing. I'm working with Ron's firm on that. So anyway, Kenny, what the hell are you doing here? You look very
He's
relaxed.
sleeping.
I am.
Jeez.
I'm waiting to get my other glass of wine.
I haven't started yet. So anyway.
Hey,
Well,
Chris, Chris.
Can I have a motion to approve the meeting?
I'll make that motion.
What, somebody has a question.
Danny Judge here. Before we, well, Alex, I got a letter regarding a site update for 1761 Central, and it had to do with Pioneer Savings Bank taking a sign down. And is that anything we have to be concerned with? Are we losing parking spots, or is
Just
it
a guy.
anything?
That was Geico, the gentleman that just presented.
Okay.
Previously, it was Pioneer.
We have no issue. It went through the sign review board, so forth. So we're good, Dan.
Okay, very good. That's all I had.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Yes.
Yes,
Any
yes,
opposed?
yes.
No
All right.
opposed? All right.